You're listening to Community Forum on KCCC 930 AM, sponsored by Eddy County, honoring God, country, and family, thriving with industry since 1889. Also sponsored by CNB Bank. Go to carlsbadnational.com to learn more. Thank you for listening to Community Forum. My name is Johnny Chandler. I'm the owner of KCCC 930 AM and the host of Community Forum. And with me today, I have two new representatives from the Bureau of Land Management. I've had the Bureau of Land Management on quite a few times for National Public Lands Day, which is likely more like a week. But one of the best weeks of the year because we really clean up our properties. And that's why we're going to talk to BLM. So on my left, I have Wendy Brown. Wendy Brown is the Public Affairs Officer for the Bureau of Land Management, Pecos District, correct?
Yes.
Okay, how are you today?
Doing well.
You nervous?
Maybe slightly.
Okay, good. I like that. That's good. Have you ever done a radio interview before?
I've done radio before, but not necessarily an interview.
Oh, great. Well, I am a hard-hitting interviewer.
Okay.
So just so you know. All right. And then to my right is Ty Allen. Ty Allen is the Assistant Field Manager for Resources for the Bureau of Land Management, which we will reference as BLM the rest of the program, just for easier off-the-tongue type things. So thanks, Wendy. Thank you very much for that. Ty, how are you doing today?
Fantastic.
Great. You're a radio guy? You done radio interviews before?
No.
This your first one?
Oh, yes.
All right. Are you nervous at all?
Not really.
Man, I can kind of tell. You seem pretty chill. He's like, man, this guy's not going to challenge me. Anyways, we're here with the Bureau of Land Management, BLM, because I just want to interview you all. I want to talk about what your mission is. I want to remind the community what BLM does and all the things that they do, because it's a lot. It's not just oil and gas. It's not just cool recreation area. There's a whole lot to it. So, Ty, do you want to kind of start us off a little bit with what the mission of BLM is?
Sure. So, the BLM here is we manage America's public land. And so everybody's heard of the National Park Service,
right?
Carlsbad Caverns. So they manage the park. You have the forest that manages the forest. Well, then there's BLM that manages the public land, and we do it in a multiple use approach. So our mission isn't to conserve the forest or have the park. It's everything else.
Okay.
And so just looking around, driving between here and Hobbs or here in Texas, any direction, there's a lot of public lands in Eddy County.
Right.
So there's a lot of resources, a lot of opportunity, and so we help manage that.
So if you look at a map of the United States, especially when we were, maybe some history here, right? When we were moving west, right? When we made Manifest Destiny was set, we're headed all the way to the coast, right? Lot more federal land west than there is like east of I guess I'll just use the Mississippi River maybe as a guideline, right? Because everybody recognizes that. Can you explain to me why we have so much more public land in the western part of the United States than we do in the eastern part?
So originally the idea was to have people move west and to settle the west. So there were incentives. Each area had different incentives, but the idea was that, hey, if you come out here and settle down and work the land and make make a life out of it,
homesteading,
then you'll be rewarded. So that was the original plan.
Okay.
And then along the way, individual states made different deals with the U.S. government as to how much the state would have. How much would not be public land owned by the federal government. And so that's why you see states like New Mexico that has quite a bit of public lands in it. And then you see other states that, like Nevada, it's like almost all public land.
Yeah, right.
And then you have other states that's a lot less.
Right. And so is it based on the resources that we knew we had at the time? Or it wasn't based on the resources we knew we had? Because I don't even know if we knew we had all those resources.
That is part of it. And, back in the original, oil and gas probably didn't play into the conversation as much as farmland or range or something.
Ranching, yeah. Wendy, did you know any of this?
Yes.
Okay. Is there like a educational course you have to take? I mean, how long have you been at PAO, even though you've only been at the Pecos District office? Have you been with BLM as a public affairs officer for a while?
Only since August, but before that, I worked for the U.S. Army.
Oh, okay. Did you ever enlist in the Army? Were you in the Army?
No, I was always a civilian.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. That's cool. Excellent. So you knew all of this already. So tell me what your primary goal is as public affairs officer in the community.
I just want people to know about the BLM and the Pecos District and everything that we do to manage the lands. For example, we have like you mentioned earlier, we have oil and gas and resources and things like that, but we and recreation. But we also help manage the land in terms of, we have wildlife biologists and hydrologists and rangeland specialists who help take care of the land and make it better.
Right. So what type of so you have a wide array of education and degrees within BLM, right?
Yes.
Like a tremendous amount, geologists, all the way through, right? So you're not just responsible for what we can see, right? Are you also responsible for what's underground?
Absolutely.
Right. That's maybe the primary thing. And now that I think about it, that's not a great question, right? You guys do oil and gas leases, right? What else do we do underground that BLM's responsible for?
So a big one we have here is the cave resources.
Yeah.
And so, as you move west towards the Guadalupe Mountains, the karst geology begins to express itself. And so the closer you get to the mountains, the more caves you have.
What does karst stand for? Is karst an acronym, or is that just like the name of a guy that we use?
No, it's like it's like rock or anything else. It's a type of geology.
Oh, okay. Right. I thought it was an acronym or something, because I know we have the Research Institute and all that stuff. So if I didn't know, then a lot of other listeners didn't know either. So
right. So the karst is the type of geology, and then the cave is the expression of the void.
Okay.
And so, you don't have to have a cave to have a karst feature. You've got just think just east of town at Burton Flats. If you're driving around out there in the area, you'll just see a hole in the ground. You may think it's a badger hole or something, but really, until somebody crawls down in the hole and looks, you don't know if it's a geologic feature that goes down to the water table.
Right.
And we have those out in Burton Flats to where you get down there and there's water, and there may be microscopic animals that live down there that don't live anywhere else.
Right.
It's amazing.
I would not want to go face to face with a badger climbing down a hole.
Hey, or a rattlesnake or anything else.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, for sure. So what's your degree in?
Wildlife biology.
Wildlife biology. And where did you get your degree from?
I got one at Texas Christian University, and then got a master's at Sul Ross State University.
Right. So, and that's in Alpine? Mm-hmm. Okay. And how did you end up in Carlsbad?
Interesting story.
Great. Well, I'm glad I asked. You're asking the right questions here, Wendy.
My wife was teaching in Pecos after she graduated from Sul Ross. And then we were trying to figure out what we were going to do, because we probably weren't going to live in Pecos. And the wildlife position opened up in Carlsbad at this place called the Bureau of Land Management, whatever that was.
Well, you didn't know what it was
Not
at the
a
time.
clue.
That's
Not a
interesting.
clue. And then applied for it for just a seasonal position, and 20 years later, here we are.
20 years. That's what I was going to. That was my very next question: is how long you've been doing it. So you've been in Carlsbad for 20 years then, and I just assume that you love it now.
It is our life.
Yeah, I mean, you've been here for 20 years. It's not like you.
We have roots. We have children. I'm talking with Wendy earlier today. I got a senior this year, graduated.
Nice, congratulations.
It's our life now.
Right. So, with your expertise and being in Carlsbad so long, can you tell me what you think is the number one? And I don't know if I'm going to word this right. What do you think is the best recreational resource that we have in our community that's under BLM?
Probably the Black River, to be honest.
Okay.
I know we have caves. We manage over 300 caves, and most all of those are available to the public. No permit. You just go. The best one being probably Parks Ranch. It's the most accessible. Anybody can go. Any skill set can go and have fun.
I went on a tour with a tourism group, and it's the Ghost one, I think. Ghost. It's kind of down there by Washington Ranch, but you got to take a left and you go east of 285. And there's a little cave, and you go down to the cave entrance. It's not too much farther in, and it's very tight. I don't remember the name of it though.
It's right near Parks Ranch, though.
Oh, okay.
And anyway, so that's a great resource. But back to your question, I think just the Black River. You can get on the Black River, west of National Parks Highway, and just disappear. Like you're not in the Carlsbad oil field, whatever typically a visitor might think driving through Carlsbad and looking around, just so active and construction going on. But you can get down in the Black River at our day use area down there at Cottonwood and just disappear.
Yeah, I've been down there. It's really
amazing.
It's really beautiful. The water's really great too.
It's
and
great.
It feels like the water shouldn't be there. You know?
Well, right. And there's wildlife that shouldn't be there, and there's a lot of recreational opportunity.
And then there was a dock down on
Mm-hmm.
Black River that burned a while ago, but like years ago or whatever, some horrible fire, but it's completely rebuilt.
Yes.
And now it's beautiful. It's like a great recreation area.
It's bigger. It's more accessible.
What about the Rattlesnake Park area? Is that you guys too?
No, that's the park.
That's the parks, okay. Because that has a really cool history of how it used to be a work camp and stuff like that as well. But you guys work hand in hand, essentially, right?
Essentially.
I mean, it's all like in the same area.
We work together quite a bit. And depending on which administration's in office, you learn where that line is.
Yeah, right. But that's anywhere, you know.
Right.
So, Wendy, how long have you lived in Eddy County?
Well, so right now I live in Roswell in Chaves County, but I originally came out and worked in Carlsbad back in 2000 to work at the Current Argus.
Oh, nice. You used to
yeah.
write for the Current Argus?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
that's good news. That's great.
Yeah.
Do you have a journalism degree then?
Yes.
Where'd you get your journalism degree from?
The University of New Hampshire.
Oh, okay. I'm an Eastern New Mexico University grad here, locally, with a journalism degree as well. So, well, that's great. And then, I know it's off topic, but we all know that the Carlsbad Current Argus has been bought by a local company. It's no longer owned by the Gannett. It's owned by El Rito News, which is great to have a local company owning a local paper. It's good for our community. You going to consider writing for them again?
Well, we submit stories, or I have a couple times, and I think two of my stories for the BLM, just community news, have run in the Current Argus under the current ownership under Gannett, but I'll definitely send more stories in.
Yeah, probably likely to get picked up a little bit better too, maybe when it's a local. Anyway, that's just really great news. And so, how do you like your public affairs lifestyle versus journalism?
It's great. I've been actually kind of surprised by how it's really not a whole lot different in many ways. So
I remember when I left television news, which was 7 days a week, 12 hours a day as the assistant news director, and I went and became a public information officer. It was quite a bit different for me. Like, I couldn't believe this is how the rest of the world lived, you know, because it was just like so stressful all the time. Let's get back on the topic of BLM, Ty, and I wanted to touch base with you a little bit. I know you had a lot of notes there, but I don't know really what those questions are. I'm missing all kinds of things about BLM in our community. I know that I am. And we have an 80-mile radius, Wendy. So on your drive to Roswell, you can hear us, right? No problem. And then on your drive to Hobbs, once you get into Roswell and Hobbs, you're going to lose us. That's the whole idea. But what am I really missing? I know we've got caves, which are great. And then what about ATVs, recreational stuff? You guys support that?
Oh, absolutely. Well, the important thing to know is that public land's the public land, right? So whatever's out there is available to the public. There's just certain rules to help govern the use.
Well, let's go over those. I was going to say, let's think about pack in, pack out is always a great rule, right? Like, whatever I bring in, I should probably take out if there's not a trash can there at the reuse area, right? And what else we got? Like, what are the rules? Like, if you're going to go off-roading, does that mean I can take my ATV anywhere and all the land, or should I try to stick to trails? Do you see what I'm saying?
That's the thing is it may vary between BLM offices. And so the idea is to stay on an existing road or trail when possible, but obviously if you're hunting, you may need to leave the road. So
if I'm hunting, do I have to get approval from BLM before I hunt, or is that that's a completely different license? I can just go?
No, that's a state function. So
the
state issues the permit, and then you're responsible for knowing the landowner when you go.
Yeah, and so can that be BLM then, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Right, so I don't have to get permission from BLM before I go hunting on the land, or you guys just have designated areas, designated seasons, and the hunters know where to go?
Pretty well it's all open, except there may be some areas that aren't for various management reasons, but what's great is we have an app to go with it.
All right.
And we worked with the Game and Fish, and so it actually tells you which private lands you can cross to get to public lands. Also, it's right there on the, with the GPS point, show you where you're at.
Is it like a checkerboard? If I open up that app, Wendy, tell me. Is it like a checkerboard, like private land, public land, private land, public land? Is it because it can get pretty difficult, right?
It's not as bad here in the Carlsbad field office, especially in Eddy County. Now you get over into Lee County, you get up into Chaves County, it gets a little more checkerboard. But here, there's a lot of contiguous public lands to go.
Let me ask you, Wendy, what would be your favorite activity on public lands?
Well, in this area, one place that I really liked is 6 Mile Dam.
Yeah, I do too.
If probably if I had to pick one thing to do on a weekend morning, I would get up really early and go to 6 Mile Dam and take photos of the birds down there around dawn. It's beautiful.
I've been to 6 Mile Dam once, and it was pretty nice. But that was before they did some recent improvements. Some recent improvements were made.
A lot of improvements.
A lot of improvements. So I'll have to go back down there. I haven't been down there in a little while. But it also a nice oasis, right? So I came from Albuquerque. I've been here 2.5 years. I'm Carlsbad local now for sure. But I'm still surprised by how much water there is down here. You know, like compared to the rest of the state and from the perception of people up north, we're just desert, right? And we are desert. But the truth is there's a lot of water down here and a lot of water activities. And it wasn't something I was really expecting, you know? And so it's like when you're on a hot day and you go to 6 Mile Dam and you hear the water running over the dam, that within itself is also just kind of quite refreshing, you know? Ty, do you have a favorite activity here in the county?
I think that's one of them.
That was 6 Mile Dam?
It's right there. It's in town. It's easy to get to. And then we also have the Steve West birding area. So
where's that? I do not know about that at all.
that's it right at the dam.
Oh, okay.
Steve West was a longtime educator in the area, very, very conservation-based minded. And so whenever we got this opportunity to work with the city and the county to, revitalize 6 Mile Dam for recreation and for family enjoyment, we took that opportunity, to establish a birding area to make it conservation friendly. And Steve West came in and we had a whole ceremony with the mayor and everything. It was great.
So I wonder, a quick question then when it comes to BLM. So how's your mission when it comes to the idea of the wildlife, especially the birds, right? Aren't we some national buzzard corridor or something like that? There's some large bird that I'm not familiar with what it is that migrates twice a year.
So we've got quite a bit of ravens.
Yeah.
And we actually have a lot of diversity and wildlife here. May not realize it, but at one point over near the website, it was the second most diverse raptor area in the country.
Wow.
Compared to the Snake River in Idaho. That was the only other one. And so it's a factor of, we have the, like Laguna Grande, large water source. We're right on the edge of the mountains, and so we're at the edge of the Central Flyway, and so every now and then we get just random birds come through. We have neotropical migrants that go through the Black River area and Rattlesnake Springs, but we have a lot of different raptors that come through the area too.
How challenging is it to balance the mission of wildlife, right, and making sure that that's there and enjoyable, the balance of the people enjoying the land, as well as the industry that we need to use, right? How difficult is that?
It's really difficult, but what I would say is that we've got a lot of strong partners in the community, whether it's through industry or other non-government groups. And so you mentioned the Black River and mentioned 6 Mile and those recreation areas, and those wouldn't have been possible without the partnerships of organizations, including industry.
Yeah. So we're a real outdoor tourist county, Wendy, do you think? I mean, like the more you think about it, like, well, we're underground is not technically outdoor, right? The cave's not outdoor, but it's nature oriented, right? Like much more than just visiting some shopping mall in some big city or something. So we have a whole lot of that in this county. Do we have more than most counties in the state? When it looks at like this recreation and all the opportunities, I feel like there's a lot more here than somewhere. Now, Silver City area, you know what I mean? The Gila National Wilderness, the Catwalk, I've got that. I'm trying to be realistic here.
So what I like to say is we provide a lot of ingredients.
Yeah.
And then it's up to the public to figure out what that recreation opportunity is. Yeah. Because the things like hunting, mentioned hunting. Hunting's huge here.
Yeah.
But they're not really loud about it.
That's true.
Whereas if you go to other areas, like the Gila, let's say, hunting's huge there too, but it's the wilderness. So it's, it's more like talked about.
Right. Well, I mean, it was the first designated wilderness in the entire country. Right. I mean, Aldo Leopold and the history of the Gila National Wilderness, it's actually quite great. I've read his book, or one book about him. I can't remember he wrote it or something, but it was really great.
But between all the water that we talked about, between hunting and caves and just the sheer number of public acreage we have here, there's a lot of opportunity.
Do we know the number? How much public acreage do we have in Eddy County? Do we have that number off the top of our head, or can you give me
It's about half.
Give me a good estimate. Half of the land in Eddy County?
It's about half.
Half of it. So let me ask you another question, and I don't know if this is you guys or not, and Wendy is PAO, you can answer everything generally pretty much because you have the general knowledge of everything, but how does it work when it comes to like cities and counties trying to get more land to expand, and they kind of want that from BLM, right? You guys have so much land, maybe the only land we can get is BLM land so we can expand our community. And I know that's a high level process, right? I mean, it's not like just don't ask, but there is a process within BLM to do that, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. We've got a couple projects going on right now with the county and the city both.
Right. I mean, I've heard a little bit. That's why I brought it up, because I've heard some of it. It's not that much of a secret necessarily.
But it's exactly what you mentioned. There's a community need for space,
right?
And the land that's available possibly is owned by the federal government. And so there's a process. There's an exploratory process. We have to determine if it's available first through the different plans that are in place, the different restrictions on lands and things like that. But as we go through that process, we can certainly determine that it's available and then go on to see if it's in the public's interest to convey that.
Right. So you're balancing, because it's federally owned land means it's our own land, right? These people own the land, right? So do you want this land for recreation or what it's being used for now, or do you think it'll be a better use for houses and grocery stores or whatever else you need to build? And that's always a delicate balance everywhere. And our country does it better than anybody else, though, I believe, when it comes to designating wildlife and development at the same time. I mean, we basically invented the idea of national parks and wildernesses, right? So, and it's nice to see that tradition carry on, but as we expand and as we grow, it's just a real tricky thing. I'm not really, how do you do it?
Well, and I think the important thing there is that you don't have to have a designation of a national forest or a national monument or a park or something to conserve.
Right.
We can still have a lot of conservation on everything else, just the regular stuff out there.
Right. But that's a hard thing, too, for the community, because once you get, especially if you're somebody that believes that this should be untouched land, once you get that designation, national park, national forest, or whatever, then you are essentially untouchable, right? And so I could see why they would want to push that some lands, just like, Chaco Canyon and drilling, up north here in Albuquerque, in New Mexico, which is important for the native community and stuff like that. That's the balance that we're talking about, right? Like, we need these resources, but we want to protect our beauty at the same time.
And there's a lot of regulation that we're taxed with implementing here. So even if it's not our regs, we implement it. So like the Endangered Species Act,
right?
That comes down through the Fish and Wildlife Service, but we have our duty.
We're talking about the sand dune lizard and the lesser prairie chicken,
and the Texas hornshell.
And the Texas hornshell, that's a new one too. I mean, I don't know if it's a new one, but some of these just recently hit a more important designation than they were previously.
Right.
Yeah. I think we've talked about the lesser prairie chicken before. That's when I had Kim on. Kim is a great local organization, and they talk about that. Obviously, that's part of their mission as well.
And we work with them quite a bit on those conservation agreements. And so you're right. There's a lot of competing interests.
Yeah, but it feels like there's a great balance in this community. Right, compared to where I've lived before, it's not just all like one or the other. It just seemed like a really great balance. Like Kim's like, we're not an environmentalist group saving the land at all costs. We're working with industry to make sure that the land works and the industry works, and then we can bring it all together. And I feel like the BLM is a very similar way, especially down here in this community.
That's absolutely right. It is working lands, but we've got to find a way to make it work.
Right.
And if we don't have conservation, then somebody else will come in and make conservation, and then that's no longer working.
Right.
And so we can't have that. We gotta work together, find out what everybody's interests are, and then go that common direction. Yeah.
Wendy, we're getting pretty close to the end of our time already. Ty is obviously very knowledgeable, so I've leaned on him for most of the interview. I'd like to give you an opportunity to. I mean, what is it? It's May. Now we're recording this in May. This will probably air the first week of June. We have a whole summer, right? Do you want to tell us a little bit about what BLM may have going this summer?
Well, in terms of events, I don't know of any events that we have planned, but I would just encourage people to get out and maybe stop by. Well, stop by our office on Green Street.
Yeah, you guys encourage people to come by the office quite a bit, right?
Right.
Give us the information, yeah.
And learn about what's available and just get out on your own, visit 6 Mile Dam or the Black River or Parks Ranch Cave, just to mention
What
a
are some of
few.
the resources that you have available for the members of the public if they walk into your office during business hours, of course?
We have a whole bunch of pamphlets. I couldn't name them all, but I know we have a bunch in the
So
lobby.
every type of map, every type of trail, every type of cave, like you guys are so knowledgeable that there's maps that'll help you get wherever you need to go.
Exactly.
Plus, more importantly, is you can help them download the app.
The app is really helpful.
Yeah.
But the big thing is that we have specialists for it. If there's a resource, we probably have a specialist for it. If there's a permit, anything like that, we probably have a specialist for it. So the big thing is to either call or stop by, and we can get those questions answered for you.
Wendy, do you have the phone number off the top of your head?
I don't.
Ty?
575-234-5972.
234-5972. That's a thumbs up from Wendy there, Ty.
We're at 620 East Green Street, so just over the bridge.
Okay, and you're a government agency, so you're looking at standard business hours, right? You're going to be closed on the Monday after Memorial Day, right? Those type of things. So just keep that in mind when you swing by the office. And so Memorial Day weekend would be a great weekend for you to go check things out. Stop by the office first, right?
Right, and we also have a bunch of information online. I mean, you can just Google, field office Carlsbad and find out information from there, or just any of the places that we've mentioned today. Just Google them, and there's a page. For example, Parks Ranch Cave. If you Google that, a whole bunch of information will come up about that too. So you can do that.
Even if you're coming here to go to Carlsbad Caverns, you got to stay somewhere.
Right.
And if you're camping, we've got 3 brand new campsites that are pretty fantastic. So I'd recommend checking those out too.
And those are free or small charge? How does that work?
They're free.
First
come, first serve.
Well, it should be. We pay for that as citizens, right? That's why I wanted to have BLM on, because we are running out of time, so we're going to close this interview out. But that's why I wanted to have BLM on, because there's so much that BLM does for our community that we're not aware of it. I mean, we just spoke for almost 30 minutes, and we barely brought up camping for the first time. You know what I mean? There's so much. So I'd love to have BLM on pretty consistently, Wendy. I mean, like maybe 4 times a year or something, right? We'll talk about National Public Lands Day. We'll do once a quarter type stuff, whenever it's most convenient for all of us. But I just want you guys are available to the community. I want the community to know that, and that everything you do for the community is to make it better for community members, whether they want to go ATVing or hiking or have a job because an oil and gas company was able to set up shop there, or whatever the type of industry it is. You guys do a lot for our county, and it's an agency that not very many people are aware of, or they think they know but maybe don't. So I appreciate both of you coming on. This is Ty Allens, the Assistant Field Manager for Resources at BLM, Wendy Brown, Public Affairs Officer for the Pecos District, who helped set this up. So thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thanks for having us on.
Ty, thank you, sir.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having us.
You're listening to Community Forum on KCCC 930 AM, sponsored by Eddy County, honoring God, country, and family, thriving with industry since 1889. Also sponsored by CNB Bank. Go to carlsbadnational.com to learn more.